I still remember the sound of steel on steel, that sharp ringing echo that carried across the endless plains. It was the sound of America being built. The year was 1863. While the nation was at war with itself, another kind of battle was being fought out west. A battle not with guns and bullets, but with sweat, iron, and sheer willpower. And I was there, a railroad builder, one of thousands of men carving the path for the Transcontinental Railroad. I was just 20 when I left my small home in Ohio. Everyone was talking about the railroad. It's how it would change everything, connect the East to the West, and make America whole again. So I signed up, packed what little I had, and took the long journey to join the Union Pacific crew. When I arrived in Omaha, it was a sight to behold. Hundreds of men-Irish immigrants, Civil War veterans, freed slaves, and drifters like me, all chasing the same dream, a steady wage and a chance to be part of history. They paid us $1 a day. It wasn't much, but back then, a dollar could mean the difference between eating and starving. The work was brutal. We'd wake before sunrise, and by the first light, the air would be thick with the clang of hammers, the hiss of steam, and the deep rumble of locomotives waiting to push forward. We laid down iron rails that weighed more than 600 pounds each, lifted by teams of men working in perfect rhythm. You had to watch your hands every second one mistake, and a misplaced hammer could crush your fingers, or worse. The land itself was merciless. The Nebraska plains stretched on forever flat, empty and scorched by the sun. Some days dust storms would roll in so thick you couldn't see the man standing next to you. At night, we'd huddle around a fire, bone sore and silent, eating beans from tin plates. Sometimes, someone would pull out a fiddle, and for a few minutes, the sound of music made us forget the pain. By 1866, the tracks were pushing deeper into the wild frontier. It was a race against the Central Pacific Railroad, which was building eastward from California. We heard stories about the Chinese workers on their side, how they were some of the hardest workers anyone had ever seen. They were paid even less than us, yet they blasted tunnels right through the Sierra Nevada mountains, using black powder and sometimes even nitroglycerin, a job that cost many of them their lives. We lost men too. Some to accidents, some to heat stroke, and others to conflict. The plains were home to native tribes who saw the railroad as an invasion of their land. There were times when arrows would rain down from the hills, and we'd have to take cover behind the supply wagons. Every single day was dangerous, but we kept going. There's something about working shoulder to shoulder in the dirt and wind that turns men into brothers. I'll never forget Patrick O'Reilly, an Irishman who taught me how to drive spikes the right way. He used to sing while he worked old songs from Dublin that echoed across the open sky. One day a rail slipped from its crane. Patrick didn't have time to jump. It was gone before the sun went down. We buried him right there, near the tracks, marked the spot with a simple wooden cross, and we kept building. Because that's what he would have wanted. It's what we all wanted, to finish what we started. Then came May of 1869. After 6 long years, the Union Pacific finally met the Central Pacific at Promontory Summit, Utah. Thousands of miles of iron now stretched clear across the continent from Omaha all the way to Sacramento. When the final golden spike was driven into the ground, the crowd roared, and telegraph wires carried a single message across the country: done. I remember standing there, my clothes torn and black with soot, my hands blistered and scarred beyond recognition. And yet, I had never felt prouder in my entire life. We had done the impossible. For the first time, a person could travel from New York to California in a week instead of months. The frontier was open. America was no longer divided by wilderness. It was connected by steel. When the work was done, many of us drifted on. Some found jobs in the new towns that sprang up along the line, places like Cheyenne, Laramie, and Ogden towns that hadn't even existed before the railroad. As for me, I took a job maintaining the rails, making sure the line we built stayed alive. Every time a train thundered past, I'd feel this swell of pride knowing my hands helped build the road beneath its wheels. Sometimes I'd see families through the train windows, children waving, women smiling, and I'd think of all the lives that were changed because of what we did. The railroad wasn't just metal and wood. It was hope, connection, and progress. Now, all these years later, whenever I hear a train whistle in the distance, it still takes me back to the dust, the sweat, and the brotherhood, to Patrick's laughter, the clang of hammers, and that endless horizon of the West. People today ride those rails without a second thought. But every single mile was paid for in blood, sweat, and dreams. We weren't heroes. We were just men doing a job. But that job built America. That is something worth remembering. The Transcontinental Railroad didn't just connect cities. It connected people, dreams, and the very heart of a nation. And behind every mile of that track, there was a man with a hammer and a story just like mine. Thank you so much for watching and for letting me share this piece of history with you. If you found this story moving, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more stories from the past. See you next time.